I hope your day is full of mustard and relish and ketchup and barbecue sauce and ranch dressing. Now, is ranch dressing a condiment or is ranch dressing a dressing? And is that a separate category? Are we just doing sauces or are we doing sauces, dressings, and condiments? Because your girl fucks with Thousand Island, you know? I could get behind that. I love a little Dijon mustard. But that's not a classic condiment. Mayo, is that considered a condiment or is that considered an offense? You tell me, guys. Veganese, what's that? A condiment or even more of an offense than mayonnaise? I don't know. I don't make the rules. I'm just here spitballing different dressings, sauces. We got to have buffalo sauce. We got to have sriracha. What else do we love and need? Aioli. Aioli's just fucking mustard. I mean, mayo with like some herbs. Like it's a new thing now. All right. Wasn't planning on talking about aioli, but that's just the direction this intro went. Guys, we have an amazing episode for you this week with the one, the only Jessica Michelle Singleton. But before we get into this week's episode, there's just something I want to tell you about, and that's Oh Yeah socks. Oh yeah. Look down at your feet right now. Are they exposed? If they're exposed, why? Cover your toes. Oh Yeah offers amazing socks. What I love most about them is that they collaborate with different artists to bring unique designs. And some of my favorite designs include their llama rainbow slippers. They got socks for men. They have socks for women. They have river rat socks. They have Mr. Rogers neighborhood socks. They have Bob Ross socks. They got, if you're into puppies or kittens, there's a pair of socks for you. If you're into fishing, there's a pair of socks for you. Whatever your interests are, there's a pair of socks for you. They make incredible gifts. I love gifting people with Oh Yeah socks. It brings them a lot of joy because it's just a fun, unique, different gift. I gave my boyfriend's mom a pair of MacGyver socks. She loves them. So gift your loved ones a pair of socks or buy yourself a pair of socks as a method of self-care. It's a great way to support the show. They also make really cute additions to birthday presents or host gifts or, you know, I'm thinking of you or go fuck yourself, here's a pair of socks, or I'm breaking up with you, here's a pair of socks. Whatever the occasion is, there's a pair of socks for it. And Oh Yeah has such a wide selection. Plus they have slippers. They got socks for men, women, children. Whoever needs a pair of socks, they can find it on ohyeah.com. That's 3 O's HYEAH.com. Discount code SARA10, SARA10. And this week's episode of Shank is also presented to you by Punch Edibles and Manscaped. Today's guest is Jessica Michelle Singleton. It's a really great, fun episode. She's the best. Make sure you follow her. You check out her shows if she's coming to your city. We talk about where she's going to be. Plus, guys, support my comedy. I will be at the West Side Comedy Theater next Wednesday, January 19th, with the one, the only Kimberly Congdon. We're doing a show there and more dates soon. You can follow me at Princess Shank on Instagram, Twitter. If you're enjoying the podcast, I urge you to leave a review. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it, and it makes a world of difference for the show and for me as an independent artist who's trying to grow her comedy podcast. Okay? Yeah, share the show with your friends. Tell your friends about it. New episodes every Wednesday. Also, want to mention I do have a new podcast with Kimberly Congdon. It's called This Bitch. You can find it on YouTube. You can type in This Bitch, but when you type it into YouTube, there's no I in bitch. So it's just This BTCH. And you should be able to find us on there. And then we're also on iTunes. We're on Spotify. We're on all of the places. It's a fucking hilarious podcast. I'm super proud of it. We spent a lot of time working on it and making it good. So I have 2 podcasts, so support them both. Tell your friends about the shows. And let's get into this week's episode of Shank with the one, the only Jessica Michelle Singleton, guys. Here she is. Welcome back to another episode of Shank. It's the one, the only Jessica Michelle Singleton here.
Oh, thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to have you on the pod. I feel like I've had you maybe on the podcast a long time ago when it was at the Comedy Store.
You did, and I showed up not realizing like, oh yeah, podcasts are video, and you look super cute, and I was like in workout clothes, and I was a slob, and then I was like, never again.
You look so cute today.
I threw on a lot of makeup and a headband to be like, just in case.
Ready for your debut.
That's as good as it gets for me.
But don't you feel like a headband makes a difference? I also threw on a headband today.
It really is. It's like my hair actually looks like a pile of blonde diarrhea, but if I put some like sparkles over it, it's like, ooh, it's a vibe.
Yeah, it's distracting.
Yeah.
Like
Just
throw a bow on it and call it a day, honey.
Yes.
You were with me when I got my
818 tattoo. How are you still feeling about the 818
Oh,
tattoo?
it's been lasered since Skankfest.
Are you slowly removing it?
I'm slowly removing it, and then I'm gonna cover it with something.
That's so funny. Thank God that they shut down before we got matching yin yangs.
Oh my god! Literally, I thank myself every day because I don't think it would have looked like a yin yang.
No, it would have looked like a weird like
mole.
Yeah, it would have looked
like
like cancer.
Where did you guys get that skank? Those are Skankfest yin yangs.
Yeah.
We're like, we need yin yangs. Everything's temporary anyway. And then I remember Jamar being like, I'm not getting a yin yang tattoo. It's like totally taking me out of the vibe. But I'm like, we need it.
Everything's temporary. We need a permanent tattoo. Every time I see one now, anywhere I see a yin yang, I'm like, man, what a close call.
That, I don't know if I would hate it. I don't think I would mind having a yin yang.
I think I'd
like,
probably laugh about it. I feel like being a person with a yin yang tattoo, when people see it, they can make a lot of assumptions about you.
Oh yeah.
That you are like the most basic bitch.
You're like
fine.
Basic, but you think that you're a hippie.
Yeah, you're like, I'm enlightened. And they're like, no, you just paid too much for your coffee, bitch. Shut the fuck up. Enlightened.
Yeah, it would be a commitment. And
you have to change your whole personality. Well, you don't. I would.
Well, a little bit. A little bit. I mean, not really that much for me. Just like, I also have yin yangs on my shoes. Like, enough's enough. Not the ones I'm wearing today. But
yeah, you can have them in places you can take them off.
Yeah, you don't need it on your body for forever.
No, I have too many of those that I probably should think about lasering, but I never will.
Lasering hurts.
Does it? I was curious. Is it worse than a tattoo?
Yeah.
Fuck that.
It feels like someone's just like hitting you really hard with a rubber band, but this one was small. So, and this is from one laser session. It's not very much it's not that much later.
I mean, it's very clearly still there.
It's very clearly still there.
Yeah, that's going to take a lot of sessions. It's a testament to the artist's work that he's like, well, you don't want it to fade, do you? And then you're like, actually, I wish that it would. I really wish it would fade.
Yeah, the artist made it dark.
Yeah.
But I mean, who's to say what the artist was on when he gave me the tattoo?
That is also concerning and true.
I mean, we were definitely at
Everyone was
Skankfest.
fucked up. Yeah, he could have been methed out of his mind for all we know. We're in the streets of Houston.
I know.
My God. Was anyone not on drugs at that place?
I don't know. It took me like the next day on that Sunday, I thought that I left my phone at the venue.
Oh,
so Kim and I went back to the venue to look for my phone for 2.5 hours, and we got back to the hotel room and it was in her pants.
That's so funny. I was on so much acid flying home.
Me too. At the airport, I dropped my soda. It spilled all over the floor of LAX.
No.
Yeah, and then we sat next to these fans who were at Skankfest, and they were like, "You guys look like you were having fun."
And you're like, "Yeah, that's a way to put it." I mean, it was so much fun, but I just go like, God knows what any of my sets were like.
Oh, I can't think of it.
Go, Sarah,
I can't think of it. I can't think of those.
I know. And Jamar's like, come up here. And I was like, I'm not mentally prepared to be in front of people right now.
Yeah, that was so gnarly. It was like, by the end of Skankfest, everyone's just fucked up. And on stages that they're not even, I was on stages I was not supposed to be on.
You're not even on?
Please get me off and out of here.
Just wandering on stage. You're like, hello? In the middle of people's sets. Like a lost kid. So funny.
Oh my God. But then, I mean, I don't understand why on Sunday we weren't at the goddamn comedy jam.
How did we miss that?
We missed like the moment.
Where everyone was on stage. And I remember them being like, hang around, because at the end, everyone's going to get on stage. And I was like, that's awesome. And then all of a sudden, we weren't there.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, I saw all the footage from it. And I was like, where was that?
Man. We only got on the stage for fucking what are they called? Sex
Steel
Panther? What are
Panther.
they? Steel
Steel
Panther.
Panther. Oh,
I mean,
man.
that was.
How did that even?
I don't know. I hope that page never resurfaces. My God. You were about to take her top off?
And Kim was like, Sarah,
No.
no. And I was like, okay.
It was so funny. Like, oh, okay, no.
I was
just
in
realized?
character, bitch. I was like, why wouldn't I? Isn't
You're
that
like, I'm
what
a groupie.
Isn't that what this is?
I'm part of the show.
I'm on psychedelics and part of a band now.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? And you were like, your name was Daisy, and I said my name was Amethyst. That was crazy.
You're insane.
We were on our worst behavior.
It was great though.
It was so fun. But then afterward, I was like, I don't think I needed to do anything for months.
No, I was like, well, I got everything out of my system.
Yeah.
It was kind of crazy going from the 2020 like lockdown stuff where we were all barely hanging out to just full-fledged chaos.
Chaos.
It was mayhem.
I know.
It's not even a word I use, but
Mayhem's a good word though. It doesn't get enough play.
I know. I probably said that when I was on acid, just staring into groups of people. This is mayhem on a roof.
Man, it was you, me, Josh Potter.
I love Josh Potter.
Josh Potter is one of the most fun people to hang with.
He's the best. Him and I had not been like super close before that. I just would like. He's one of those comics you like see him passing. Hey, how are you? And then after that, I'm like, oh, we were bonded for life.
Yeah,
We're stuck together. I think that's what festivals do, though. They give you like trauma bonded, fun friends.
You're like, oh, we have a sense of family, of dark family.
We've all gone to a very weird place and came back.
Yeah, and wait, I think that they're announcing where Skankfest is going to be. Like,
has it been
today?
announced yet? Oh my God.
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm so excited.
I'm also scared.
Me too. I'm excited, and depending on where it is, it may just be like, I think that's too much for me.
I'm still recovering.
I know. Fuck. I mean, imagine the amount of. I'm not even anyone can look at my lifestyle and my bank account and know this. I'm not like a money chasing person. I kind of wish I was a little bit more because I probably have more. But I'm like, imagine the amount of sponsorships Skankfest will get once other drugs are legalized.
No, I know.
They'll just be like, brought to you by acid.
You're like, I'm sorry.
Johnson & Johnson LSD.
It's like drugs that you've never even heard of, like different strains of weed. I'm like, is that weed? They're like, no, because it's legal. That's why it's in Houston. You're like, what?
It's CBG. And
yeah.
You're like, what?
Yeah.
The fuck?
Like it's Delta 8. You're
All
like,
the weird fucking knockoff. I feel like every 10 years there's a new, like, this is the
new
legal
thing.
Remember, what was that?
Salvia?
Salvia. I never did it, but I had friends who like smoked it and went crazy.
Yeah, people who did it went fucking crazy. I remember because in high school, my best friend's brother got it from the dispensary because you can just get it. I mean, it wasn't dispensary. It was like a glass shop, like a head shop.
Oh, that you weren't allowed to call them bongs?
Yeah.
Is that a thing? Where I lived, it was like, don't say they're bongs or you have to leave.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, this is clearly a bong. It's a pipe.
It's for tobacco.
Yeah, it's 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
No one's like, load up my tobacco. Can you imagine it's also someone using a bong for tobacco? That's insane to me. I guess that's kind of what a hookah is, in a way.
Yeah,
No?
but no, just doing a ripping tobacco.
And they just cough for 3 years.
No, salvia. Yeah, my friend in high school's brother smoked it, and because they just sell it. It's like legal, I feel.
Yeah. Also, it's like, I want to meet the people who are the control group that smoked several different types of herbs before they're like, well, this one fucks you up.
Yeah.
Someone's out there just loosely smoking trees.
Loosely. And also, how is it that salvia is just accessible? And
when it's like makes you way worse than weed ever does.
Yeah. It like, my friend's brother said that he felt like he like left his car and was in another universe and then he came back. And like, I also have a friend who smoked salvia who said she left her body, went to Tokyo on a raft and was drinking a Mai Tai and then came back.
That's so... I've never done it. And now I kind of want to, but kind of don't because it's scary.
No, because I've also had people who like...
I went to hell.
I talked to this guy with Ryan Sickler who he smoked salvia and he went and he says he lived 8 other years in another state as another person. And
like
he
in
said,
real life.
He said it felt like every single day of the it felt like it was 8 years. Wait, every single day, but it was like a 30-minute salvia trip.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait, was this the trip or did he actually like go live another life for 8 years after he smoked? Okay, I was like, wait, what? That's wild.
And it
What that
made
does
me
to time.
Well, he said he was like an apple farmer in like this place called Tyler, Texas, and he lived like this whole
That's
other
a real
lifetime.
place.
Yeah, and it's a whole other place, and he had a different name.
What
and
if it's actually like lets you tap into past lives? Do you believe in that shit?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Do
I'm
you
supposed to interview a woman who does past life regression for my podcast. I'm so excited. She's really kooky though. She's like 75 and she's like, I have to cancel. I have shingles. But yeah. She's like, but next week we can go to the Screenwriters Guild after the podcast. Like, I can't wait to meet her. But like, oh yeah, I'm so into that shit.
Where did you find her?
I Googled past life regression therapy Los Angeles because I was like, let's find somebody. But do you know about Brian Weiss?
No.
He's the guy. He's like the past life guy. Like he was like one of the main like guys who really like started it and founded it on a big level. And he's written all these books like Many Lives, Many Masters about
I've heard that
people's
that
stories.
book.
This woman was trained by him. So I'm like, come on, Big Daddy.
So this is on your podcast.
Yeah, I haven't. Ignorance is #blessed.
Ignorance is #.
I haven't interviewed her yet, but let me know if you want me to like do any specific prying. If you want any questions.
Wait. Okay. So how did you come to this place of wanting to interview her? Do you have a sense of having a past life?
I don't want to say this because then I can't back it up with like really specific evidence.
I feel like
I have lived 1,000 lives. Not 1,000. But like, I think I have a very old soul. I think I've been here a million times.
That's how I feel too.
And I think that's why like I go places and sometimes they feel really familiar. And then there's this part of me that like believes this about myself, but also for other people. If you have a face where people are constantly like, you look like someone I know, or like, have we met before? I think it's because of that.
Yeah.
Which is so... People who are like super logical atheist skeptics are like, okay. But I don't know. It makes sense to me. Or like...
Well, do you think your skills transfer from life to life? Like, do you think
I think so. I think
that's
you have
what
to discover
I think
them.
too.
But I think that like someone who is really good at what they do has probably done it before. And they've actually been honing it for multiple lifetimes in different ways.
That's what I think too.
Yeah. Like...
We were like clowns in another lifetime, like performing like court jesters and like vaudeville.
About the exactly though, like in the idea that like people in your life now you've actually known in past lives a lot of times.
Yeah, that's crazy too.
Everyone from Skankfest was killed in a clown car accident in 1922 in the mountains of West Virginia. Like, unfortunately, the clown show had to be canceled. They all died in a fire. But yeah, no, and I've always like. I think some of my nonchalance about like the beauty of nature, because I have friends that go like, oh my god, it's majestic, and I love being out in nature, but then rarely have I had that.
Really?
Yeah, but I also think some of that was trauma, and now I'm coming out of it and like appreciating like being able to be present. So I could be wrong, but I'm like maybe like I've seen it before. Like, yeah, mountains, cool.
Swiss Alps, been there, lived there.
Lived there for 45 years as a monk, a Swiss monk. You don't hear about them because they die in the mountains.
That is crazy. No, I love nature, but it took me a second to get there because I'm more of a kind of like a valley girl. I grew up in LA. There's not that much nature. Like, it's nice
like the
here.
Fake nature of going to Fryman Canyon or whatever.
Like, oh, we'll go to Fryman. We'll go. There's a lake in Echo Park. We could,
it's just like filled with trash.
Yeah,
and you're like lake day in your little swan boat or whatever. No, me too. I mean, I grew up in Alaska, and only now when I go back do I go. It's majestic. It's weird. And
is it dark?
Oh yeah, a lot of the year. It's like we don't go full like 40 days a night where I grew up, but we get down to like 3 hours of daylight. And a lot of people who I know from here who have gone to Alaska, like comics who have done shows there, more than one person has been like, I finally understand why you are the way you are. And I'm like, I don't know what that means.
What does that mean?
Because I guess I'm weird.
Well, yeah.
But they go, you're pretty standard. You're
Alaska?
Pretty Alaskan. Like, I met Alaskans and you're actually relatively sane and normal.
Wait, so like what is Alaskan culture like?
A lot of drinking, a lot of drugs, but just like people wear Carhartts as part of their fashion.
Okay.
And this doesn't apply to everyone. I have some friends there who like dress really well, but like really functionally dressed, not fashionably. Like everyone in high school, the coolest shoes to have were Doc Martens, but not even like the cool, like punky high top ones. It was like brown, flat, like just not high boot Doc Martens. and then these like Doc Marten sandals that look very much like Birkenstocks for the summer, just like woven things that are like that's a grandma shoe.
It's like a practical
yeah
shoe.
And that's what, like, if you don't have those, it's like, what are you even doing?
No, in Alaska.
Why aren't you wearing a North Face fleece? And it's like, because it's ugly.
And that's just the vibe. And everyone's, is it cold most of the year?
The summertime is beautiful. Oh my God. The summer's amazing. It gets like 70s, but not too dry, but not too humid. And the sunlight stays up. That's where you also can go crazy.
That's cool.
There's like midnight sun. It's called the land of the midnight sun.
Ooh, midnight sun sounds fun.
Yeah. It's funny because you'll leave a bar, like it's closing time, and it's daylight. And I think Daniel Tosh has a really good joke about like leaving the bar. You know, you leave this dark bar with a woman you're going to go home with, and you step outside and see her, and you're like, never mind.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, no, darkness all winter and then nonstop sunlight. So it makes you crazy.
Is there no, yeah, for sure, right? Yeah. Because aren't you supposed to what is that word?
Circadian rhythm.
Yep. I was like something rhythm.
Yeah, people have to have like blackout curtains for the summertime, but then there's people in the wintertime who like sit under special lights to get their vitamin D, which I probably should still do. But
I think I should do that, even though it's sunny here.
I know, but then you have to like go outside. It's so funny because like I love the outside, but then I hate like going outside.
I feel like that too. Like, because going outside to be outside, that's why I moved to the canyon, because I was like, I need to force myself to be outside.
Yeah, you're like, I have to be forced to
I have to wake up outside. Otherwise, I won't go hiking, and I won't be in nature. And for my mental health, it makes such a big difference.
It really does. And I was one of those people for years with like my depression and whatever the fuck goes on in my brain. It was like, fuck you, to people who would be like, have you tried just going for a walk? Getting some sun. It's like, that's so dismissive. And I tried doing it, and I'm like, oh shit. They were a little bit onto something.
It does help. It's like the one thing that I try to force myself to do is just at least exercise. I try to do it outside, but
yeah, me too. And I try to like be cognizant of, I fall off, but and doing the road actually helps. Going to places where it's cold and dark and fucking shitty, or just rainy. Like if I do shows in Seattle and I come back and try to be like, oh, we're so lucky that most of the year we can just go outside.
I know.
And then I try to be like, all right, fucking just get some steps for fuck's sake.
Get some steps. Well, like, getting steps takes a while. Like, you're supposed to get 10,000 steps a day.
Yeah, which ends up being, sometimes it happens and I'm like, oh, wow, I got my steps. And then other days it's like, who has time for this?
10,000.
Like, what, do you not have a job if you get 10,000 steps every day?
There's no way.
No. And then I have to like take these intentional time to go on a longer walk to get my steps. And it's like, for what? To be here on Earth longer?
I know. During the pandemic, I was trying to get my steps. I was at my parents' house in the valley living with them. And I was like, I need to get out of the house. I'll get my steps.
It's easier to get steps when you're like, I have to get away from you.
You guys, I'm going to fucking go crazy. I'm just like, I'm afraid they're going to die, and I'm living with them during the pandemic. I'm like, I have to go to the grocery store for you guys. I don't want you coming home with the virus. Like, so panicked, so freaked out. And then I would just like do all the errands and then walk for like 4 hours and
That's
be like,
so funny.
It took 4 hours or something crazy to get all the steps.
Well, no. Yeah, it's so like, and that's so funny, the simultaneous, like, I don't want you to die, but I also don't want to be around you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, go away, but like not forever. No,
yeah.
That was such a luxury in the pandemic too, where if I had nothing to do, and granted, everything I have to do is self-imposed at this point. Like,
same.
You know, it's like, okay, I'm my own boss. I could arrange my schedule to like do less, but I won't. But I would probably just be a crazy person who walked around forever. I'd be like, all right, well, 9 a.m. gonna hit the bricks, and then just like walk for 8 hours. I think I'd be like a weirdo just walking.
I know, like because part of me, does any part of you miss when everything was shut down and we were at home? Like the simplicity of it.
Yeah, low pressure.
The low pressure of it, of like not having to worry, be like, I'm not where I'm supposed to be in my career, or
everyone's even though I still did that,
but everyone's still at home.
Yeah, where you're like, okay, no, everyone doesn't have forward momentum, so I'm not falling behind. Yeah, and also just that weird, like, as shitty as the pandemic was in a lot of ways, it was sort of this weird opportunity to really like stop and evaluate everything. Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Which, like, my conclusion ended up being like, oh, actually, yes, this is the path I'm supposed to be on. But that was after a year of hardcore spiraling. I was like, I'm gonna go back to school. I'm gonna
You know, sometimes
I took a coding class. I was like I got offered a job as a park ranger and I almost took it.
No.
Yes, in like the middle of Utah. I was like, it's just seasonal. I'll just go out there and be with the trees for a while.
No, I love that. That's amazing. What a plot twist.
I know. And as I was like needing to accept the job was when, because I went on tour with Melissa Villaseñor and helped her like punch up her special. And just as like they were offering me the job, she's like, hey, do you want to do this? And I'm like, oh, that's God or whatever. That's like the universe is like, you don't go to Utah.
Oh, don't go to Utah to become a park ranger.
Yeah, I was just gonna like sit in a hut and tell people to wash off their boats was basically gonna be
because that sounds pretty chill though.
It does. Like I was like, you know what? Maybe it'll give me a perspective. I can always come back to comedy, and at the same time thinking, can I ever come back to comedy?
Because
am I obsolete now?
Yeah. It was so weird. I was like, I don't know how to make money. I didn't know what to do. I started hula hooping. I was doing the hula hooping live streams on the internet on Instagram from my parents' house. People would be like, I'd be like,
I hope people were sending you tips.
They were.
Good. And I wish I would have. How did I miss that? I love hula hooping. I would have came up there.
It was so manic though.
Yeah, it's such a manic.
It's so manic, but it was so fun. I have an LED hula hoop. I like reach. It's like rainbow colors. It lights up.
Oh, LED. I think you said LED, and I'm like, is that like a famous hula hooper?
I have an LED hoop.
Who's LED? Oh, that's amazing.
And so I reached out like all manically to this guy who has an Etsy account. First day of the pandemic, like when I realized like I was gonna be at home with my parents, and I was like, can I get a pandemic discount on a hula hoop? I'll direct people to your store. And he's like, yeah, for sure. I'm
That's
like,
amazing.
Thanks. And then he sent it to me, and it was like, it saved me. And then I got a trampoline. It's like
the
a
little
child.
ones or like a big one?
A little one.
Okay, I know like a lot of people got those like little jumper trampolines,
which seem fun. Like you're like, oh, it'll be such a fun workout. It's
I'm
like,
gonna exercise all the time. Now it's just taking up space.
It's taking up space, and then also I was worried I was going to get hurt, to be honest. Like,
if you got seriously injured on a small trampoline, I would feel bad, but also that'd be hilarious. Like, yeah, no, she's permanently paralyzed because she took a spill on her very small trampoline.
Oh no.
That would be such a you move, too. Like, yeah, my arm's permanently broken.
I was like, what happened? Trampoline.
I was jumping on a trampoline that's 1 foot off the ground.
That's so great. So
I was
funny.
roller skating on my trampoline and
yeah. No, I don't understand people do tricks on their trampolines. And also the trampoline as a kid, so fun. As an adult,
I'm like, where did my imagination go? Remember just like also pools? You could spend hours in pools doing like silly games or playing pretend. And now I get in and I'm like, the pool. And then after 20 minutes, I'm like, all right. Yeah. 20 minutes max, by the way. And that's me going, I can't get out now. I'm already in the pool.
Yeah. And then, but after being in the pool for an extended amount of time, exhausting.
Yeah.
Same with being in the sun.
I can't. That is the like crux about going outside for me. It's like I love the outdoors and fresh air, and I get wiped out by the sun so quickly. I'm like a 90-year-old. That if it's over 75, I'm like, I can't go out there. I'll get hurt.
I feel like that too. Have you done stand-up in Alaska?
Yes, I recorded my first album there.
Oh, how was that? What was that like?
Oh, so fun. I mean, if you're the kind of comic who likes kind of rowdy, it's like a rowdy bar crowd, but that is there for the show.
Okay.
It's great. And they do a festival they just started a couple of years ago called Alaska Before You Die Fest, because it's just the concept is they're like, look, you're not going to get discovered here. This isn't a festival where like it's going to change your career, but do you want to see Alaska before you die? So,
I like that.
Yeah, and I got to do it the first year. I was like one of the headliners, and they really did a good job with how they ran it. All the shows were like sold out, and they planned a lot of trips for all the people visiting. They did like a whole bus tour and like took people
That's so
places.
fun.
It's great. The people it's good people. A lot of them are a little like rednecky compared to California, but who isn't? I mean, California is like
it's very specific.
Yeah, so it's like good old. It kind of, in my mind, has a bit of a southern vibe in the friendliness and the hospitality.
Okay, I like that. Is there an Alaskan accent?
No, Sarah Palin is a fucking fraud. I don't know what the fuck
Yeah.
that is. When she's like, yeah, I'm Sarah. When she has this like Midwest shit, nobody talks like that. I would say the only Alaskan accent there really is would be like a native accent, which I'd be probably canceled if I tried to do. But like,
okay, yeah.
I'm
Like
not
a-
gonna, I'm
like
so
a-
tempted
like
to
an
try
a-
to do it, but it's like a
like
native,
an Inuit.
yeah, like
Okay.
a native Alaskan, and it's kind of like a. If you just think of if you've ever watched anything that's got like a almost like a caricature like Native American,
Okay.
but there is that element of the like. It's just sort of like a flat. I'm like my father was a mountain. I don't know. That's not even an accent.
But I like that.
I can do it.
But you don't want to get canceled
I don't want to get canceled by my people.
by the Alaska. You're
By-
banned from
by the
Alaska.
Inuit. It's like a deep. Maybe I can't do it anymore. Actually, I'm trying to think of.
You lost it?
I did. I lost my Alaska.
No, you got to.
Did I lose my Alaska? It's like this. That just sounds like me talking to my dog. All right, there is an accent, but I am obviously failing at it.
Have you seen an igloo? Are they around?
No.
Or is that like a rumor?
It's a rumor. I think maybe up north, and I used to like be like, oh yeah, no, that's where we live, just as a fucking bit. But no, I've never seen an igloo. I've never seen a polar bear outside of captivity, but I have seen grizzly bears. I've seen black bears. The moose everywhere.
Ooh,
They're
a moose sounds
huge, by the way. It's not as cute as you think it would be. Because
Really?
it's so big that it's like, think of a horse, a moose, like the back of a moose, I think is at least a foot or two taller. And they're like, it's almost like a hunchy back with big, beautiful, majestic creatures. But you're like, oh, fuck, when you see one. Like, and they say that, like, if you get near a mama moose with her babies, they get like really violent.
Shit.
I once left in 6th grade. I don't know why they gave me this instrument. I played the baritone horn, which is
okay.
which is a tuba on the bass scale, basically. And I would have to I walked to school and I would like drag the case. It was as big as me. And I was like dragging it through this trail I would take to my friend's house because we walked together. And then I saw a moose and a baby, and I just like left the horn in the woods and ran off. And that day at school, I was like, I quit. I don't want to play in the band anymore.
You were in the band?
Yeah, and here's what happened. I played French horn. I was poor.
I don't even know what a French horn is.
It's like
sounds over the top.
It's like the one that looked. I don't even
Is
know.
it huge?
It's like shaped like this, and then like there's a big horn that comes out to the right side where they hold their hand.
Okay.
It looks very fancy. I feel like it's one that like people use if they're like decorating with a horn. It's got like the big circular.
Okay, I know
but
what
it's
you
like
mean.
this. It's not like gigantic. It's just kind of heavy. And since
Okay.
I was a poor kid in band in Mississippi, we just get like, you rented the instruments. It's whatever they had, they assigned you. And I got assigned French horn. And I was like, this is cool.
Mississippi?
Before Alaska in
Oh,
6th grade.
Wait, you're
Yeah.
in Mississippi playing the French horn?
Yeah.
You've lived many lives.
I know, just in this lifetime. Literally, I was like, I'm gonna join a jazz band in Louisiana. This is my future. I'm a French horn lady. Like, I didn't pick the instrument. They gave it to me. And I was like, so excited. I was like, this is it. I am a French horn player. And then we moved to Alaska and I was like, well, I was learning the French horn. Like, we don't have one of those. You can have this. And it's like the fucking, literally like a 3-foot high baritone, like weighed more than me. And I had to drag it through the fucking woods. I made it 2 weeks and I was like, I quit band. They're like, you can't just quit band. And I was like, yeah, I can. And I do. I will sit in my classroom during band.
That's fucking crazy.
But I'm kind of sad I can't play an instrument now.
I went through a phase of like, I'm going to teach myself how to play piano. Because I have like this fantasy. I don't know where this comes from. Maybe a past life of having like this over the top Christmas party. I don't know where I'm having it, right? And I have a grand piano.
This is a past life flashback, I'm telling you.
And I'm just like in a fucking Christmas dress. And everyone's like, there she is. I walk out. I sit down at the piano. And I play like something beautiful, something Christmassy.
Yes.
And it's just comes out of my hands. It makes everyone feel alive. But this fantasy actually made me finance a keyboard. I financed it.
Oh my
friend's
God.
like, if you're financing it, maybe just don't buy it.
Yeah.
I was like,
you can't afford a keyboard. Maybe it's not for you.
I just paid off my keyboard, guys.
Have you learned anything on it?
Well, a little bit. No.
I own 2 guitars. I know nothing.
Really?
Yes. But I'm like, probably like, I want this to be the year.
I'm in denial that I don't know how to play it, even though I don't know how to play it, to be honest. It's sitting in my kitchen.
Let's each learn a song this year. It'll be a goal.
Okay.
We're lying.
Well, then we'll have a recital.
Let's do it. A big Christmas recital. It'll come true.
Recital.
And we'll raise money for people who can actually play instruments. I don't know.
I like that. Our recital. We're committing to a Christmas recital 2022.
When everyone's dead by Christmas. Like, boy, that seemed like a fun idea.
Okay, past lives. So what made you search that?
I don't even remember. I got into it in like 20. You know what's so funny is that I don't remember having like a past life flashback when I did. I did a big meditation retreat at the end of 2017. It was 10 days of silent meditation.
Where?
In Joshua Tree. It's called Vipassana Meditation.
How was that?
Life-changing. I loved it. Some people go crazy and they can't finish it and they think it's a nightmare.
10 days?
Yeah, I ended up writing like my one-woman show for Edinburgh about it, which wasn't the plan. It just like hit me like, oh, this is a show. But I had so many like wild repressed memories from my childhood and stuff come up and like just realized so much. But for some reason right after that, I think someone must have told me about that Brian Weiss guy. I got really into it. I was also manically dating a guy I'd just met before the before the meditation. Same thing, really.
Pandemic, meditation, both life-changing.
And I like forced him to get really into it. I was like, you gotta read these books.
And did he?
He did. And he was all like, oh, we must have known each other in past life or whatever, like, which would have been really cute. And then one day I just snapped and I was like, you're too much. Get away from me. Sorry if you're out there. I was not in a good place. I was clearly manic after my 10-day episode of meditation. Very nice man. But I was like, no, too much. Go away. But I like read all of this. This guy has like 4 books. And I read one and I was like, I got to read more.
Okay, I got to read them.
They're just like, and they have accounts of people in his chair, like getting hypnotized and telling their past lives. And then there's one of the books has like, he realizes as he's doing accounts of people's past lives that 2 of his patients know each other.
Roses are red, violets are blue. We love shaved balls. How about you? Valentine's Day is coming up, and we know just the gift to give that special someone for any and all special occasions. This V-Day, it's time to give him a gift that 4 million men worldwide trust from Manscaped, the leaders in below-the-waist grooming. Use my exclusive offer. Go to manscaped.com and use discount code SHENK, SHENK, for 20% off plus free shipping. My boyfriend has Manscaped. He loves it. He uses it all the time, and I'm so thankful that he has it. If you go ahead and order from them, you get the Performance Package 4.0 from Manscaped, and that includes so many different great things. One of the things it comes with is the Lawnmower 4.0, which is waterproof. So who doesn't want to have a guy with great clean balls for Valentine's Day? Also, the package includes the Weed Whacker, which is a nose and ear trimmer. Because how many times have you looked at your lover and been like, damn, you have a nose hair, honey? You know? To complete the perfect package for his perfect package, there's also the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and Crop Reviver Ball Toner. And they smell so good. Plus, they also have a cologne, which it's like a woodsy scent. It smells incredible. Again, go to manscaped.com for this exclusive Shank offer. Enter discount code SHENK, SHENK, and get free shipping and 20% off. Make his Valentine's Day just that much more special, and your Valentine's Day that much more special, because nobody wants to be with someone whose balls are fucked. You know, people don't talk about it enough. Bad balls can ruin relationships. Again, manscaped.com. Link to that in the description of this episode. Of course, discount code SHENK, SHENK, for 20% off. Give your lover the gift of clean balls this Valentine's Day. One more thing. If you're like me and you enjoy getting high, then you're going to love another one of my sponsors, which is Punch Edibles. If you're in the market for cannabis and you're trying to smoke less weed, then check out Punch. Punch is in most dispensaries in Southern California and where weed is legal. They have an amazing selection of products from infused THC malt balls with like strawberry flavors, cookies and cream, peanut butter, you name it. There is a Punch edible product for you. They also make really great chocolate bars. They have a s'mores flavor, they have a mint chocolate chip flavor, they have a dark chocolate and almond flavor, they have a sea salt flavor. Whatever type of chocolate you're into, Punch Edibles has it, and then it's also infused. So they also make cookies and cream malt balls, which are personally my favorite, and strawberry malt balls. And they have a wide selection of other things to choose from as well, including concentrates and fruit snacks. The fruit snacks are an incredible texture. I can't recommend them enough. Go ahead and check out Punch Edibles. Support the people who support the show. Give your lover the gift of Manscaped. Buy your lover some weed-infused chocolate and support your favorite podcast. Thanks, guys. Let's get back to this week's episode of Shank with the one, the only, Jessica Michelle Singleton.
And then he introduced them and they like fell in love. But like he like realized there was parallel in like
Their past
multiple past lives.
That's interesting.
Where it was like, oh, this is that person in that story.
I had an ex-boyfriend who had like this therapist who was really into past life stuff, and she did both of our birth stuff and was like, yeah, you guys were together in a past life.
What? Did you ever do past life regression, or she just said that?
No, she just said it, but she like had my birthday, his birthday, time of birth, like all of this stuff, and was able to like do the charts and said like, yeah, for sure, based on this information, you guys knew each other in a past life. But the thing that was weird was like the moment that I saw him, I was like, oh, I've known this person.
I have that. It's so funny. I have one ex-boyfriend in particular that like I look back on the relationship and was like, oh, we weren't supposed to date, but like we are
connected somehow,
connected in some way. And even to the point that I had like dreams of him, like when we were together, like dreams of him being my brother. And it was
that's
like
weird.
It was weird, and it like fucked me up a little. But then because like the first moment we hung out, we had this like instant connection, and I think we both were like, well, this must mean that we should date.
Well, yeah, because you're like, that's what you think it means.
Because you're like, oh, I feel like you know me.
Yeah, I feel like we've known each other our entire lives.
So I guess we're supposed to fuck?
Yeah. Is that what we do here?
Which is, boy, is that what I did for a lot of my like youth. It's just like, I like you as a person, so I guess we're should fuck you?
To have sex. Yeah, like I feel like my early 20s, I had a lot of disconnected sex.
Yeah, or it's like I laughed, so I guess you can put stuff in me?
Yeah, like I think we're just supposed to experiment until it's not working.
Rub our naked bodies together until we get sick of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so interesting, especially because they say that like the relationships in past lives can be like different with that person, like that maybe were their mother or like, and that's fucking weird.
Ooh, that's fucking so weird. Also, my friend, she was hiring she was pregnant and she was hiring a doula. And when the doula came, she started telling my friend about her ayahuasca journey and about how she murdered her daughter in a past life. And my friend was like, I can't have you as my doula.
Yeah,
just because like it seems violent. I don't know.
Why on earth, if you were going to deliver someone's baby, what a terrible business plan. Have I killed children in a past life? Yes, but I'm ready to help you.
Isn't that nuts?
That's so wild. But I think about that too with like my mom. I'm like, was I her mom? It feels like I'm her mom in this life, but like, I don't know. It's just
has it always felt that way?
Oh yeah, she's like a deranged alcoholic.
Okay. Okay. So
whereas like there's a lot of me doing this sort of parenting myself, but also having to be like, what are you doing? She's just like a wild gypsy woman.
A wild gypsy. Is she like always traveling?
Yeah, she's literally getting ready to move across the country now, but after I left Alaska for college, she worked in Iraq and Afghanistan for 2 years. I think she's a spy, but she refuses to say so.
Oh, she's definitely doing some shit.
She had like a 6 months in India, and then until the pandemic, the last like 7 years before that, she was in South Korea. So she's like just a wanderer, and I know I get a little bit of that from her, but it's like, what do you fucking sit still? Like she's selling this house. The house is like whatever. It's a small, basically manufactured home, but it's on this gorgeous property in Utah. And I'm like, why are you getting rid of this? And now she's moving to Baltimore. She's just nuts.
She's constantly moving.
She's a wanderer.
Is it because of her job?
She gets new jobs. Like her job isn't reassigning her.
She gets new jobs.
She's like, her contract was up in Korea, so she had to go somewhere, and she could go back to her old job in Alaska, or she could apply for a new job. So she got a job in Utah.
I can't believe she was in South Korea
for 7 years.
What the fuck?
Living in a high rise in Seoul.
No, does she know Korean?
No. Or she pretends not to. She was like, everyone here is racist. And I'm like, no, you're just in a country that, like, they're not supposed to speak English, Mom. What do you want? It's not your homeland. You fucking idiot. But yeah, no, she's very much a hippie wanderer.
That's amazing.
Manic woman. But I'm like, all right, go for it.
You're like, were you my child in a previous life?
Yeah, I mean, maybe. It feels like she's a perpetual child.
It is weird how your relationships with your parents evolve and change, like, the older you get. And you're like, whoa.
I know, and then all of a sudden you're having to worry about taking care of them, and you're like,
do I have enough money for them?
yeah, no, yeah.
Like, do I have enough patience
So I'm like,
for
I'm worried about her spending habits because I don't have money to, like, you need enough money to take care of yourself when you're really old, because I don't have it.
Right.
Because comedy hasn't really panned out that well yet.
Comedy during a pandemic too.
Yeah.
You're like, it's hard to know.
And
it's hard to plan.
Well, especially like after that happened, you go like, okay, so this could all again go away at any point.
I know. I feel like we all have collective PTSD, and like anything can be taken away from us at any point.
I know. I also like said yes to some shows last year that I was like, if the world hadn't shut down, I would have been like, no, that's not
100%.
like barely breaking even, but just being like, I gotta stay relevant. I gotta get out there. This could all end. And then it's like, all right, let me reassess. Let me figure out like my value. And like, that's been an uphill journey though. It's like learning what to say
yes to and what to say no to.
Because like at first you start comedy and we're just like stage time. You got to get up as much as you can. You got to develop. At a certain point, you like don't have to say yes to every.
Like, bitch, I'm developed.
Yeah. Pay me for my developed act. You fuck.
Yeah, totally. And saying no, there's something powerful about saying no.
Yeah.
Too. It makes you feel better about yourself.
It makes you like kind of reaffirms that you have value and self-worth. Like to be able to go, no, that's not really gonna work for me. Is like,
no, I will not drive to Barstow for $25.
Bitch, I will drive anywhere. No, I know, but it's like stuff that I used to just be like, what an opportunity.
Yeah.
How many minutes do I get to do?
I did the Holiday Inn in Barstow for real when I first
me too.
started. You did.
Years ago, yeah.
I like showed up. There's a bunch of motorcycle guys sitting outside. It was like,
it was
intense and gross.
It was a dark place.
Yeah.
But I was like, I get to headline.
45 minutes. In
like, I get to do even more time for nothing. I'm doing my job for free for a bunch of people who probably are doing staycations.
It's so
like,
dark.
People whose weekend haunt is the Holiday Inn, that is fucking dark.
In Barstow?
Yeah. Hey, what do you guys, you hitting the Holiday Inn this Friday or what? Yeah, every weekend.
Wait, okay, I want to talk about your country song that you wrote. Because it's so good.
Thank you.
What's it called? Where can people find it?
They can find it anywhere you listen to music. It's called Now I Need Whiskey. Yeah, I wrote that. That was a pandemic activity. And now I'm meeting with my friend to help me bring it to life. And I think I'm going to do an EP. Because it got such good reception.
I mean, I'm telling you, it was so good.
I was really happy with it. I've been wanting to do that for a long time. I love country music. It's sort of like, I guess, been a dark secret until I finally did this song. But I'm like, no, I've been a country bumpkin the whole time. Tricked you bitches.
But like the writing.
Thank
you.
The
songwriting was so good. And it sounds so good. I was like playing it for people. I was like, this is my friend's song.
Oh my God, I love you.
Yeah. You're super talented in that. And it's cool to see because it's like, you know, I know that you're a talented comic, but then it's like when you see another layer to somebody's abilities, you're like, oh, that's fucking crazy.
You're like, what the fuck? I know. That's also why I'm really trying to learn guitar so I can like be able to play one song.
Okay.
Well, because I got I think more attention from random people for that than I have after 10 years of doing comedy. I mean, I've like built a small fan base and stuff from comedy, and it's growing and it's going well. And like, I think I'm respected by my peers and some people I look up to, but that was like, people were emailing me. I got to connect you to this manager, and a couple country singers hit me up and like, that's really good. Let me know if you're doing more. Let me know if you come to this town. One guy was like, I want you to open for me. And I was like, I have one song. I'm going to do a song. Like, all right, good night. And then just play Freebird and leave. Like,
yeah.
But I was like, enough that it kind of made me go, oh, okay, maybe I don't want to, I'm like never going to stop doing comedy.
No, but you don't have to do just one thing. I think that's the big, I think like when you first start stand-up,
You feel like you have to be
only as stand-up.
and it's like, I don't know if you get like this, but I get in my head about, oh, one of my peers thinking I'm cool.
Yeah.
And they're going to be like, what a dork. Or like, oh, I was like, I don't want you to think I'm a musical comedian. Even though there's plenty of musical comedy I love. I just was like, this is a separate thing. I almost put it out under a different name. Because I was like, I don't want people to be like, but I was like, dude, fuck that. This idea that we have to put ourselves in one box is dumb. Like, why can't we do multiple things?
No, yeah, it's also just makes you more powerful as a performer and a human to like showcase your different sides and your different skills. And the fucking writing on it is amazing.
Oh my God, thank you. That was me.
The lyrics?
And I came to, I mean, thank you. I'm really proud of the lyrics.
The lyrics are fucking fire. I was like, oh, damn. Like from a writing standpoint too, I was really, really, really impressed.
Thank you. It was sort of like validated getting to work with my friend Alex Arias, who I say my friend, he is my friend now, but he was my boyfriend's real friend. And like had produced songs for him, but he'd also done some country artists, and he basically did it on like a big favorite of my boyfriend. Because I was
awesome.
Pestering my boyfriend, like, let's just make one. I just want to make one song. Help me make one song.
Is your boyfriend proud of the song?
He is.
It's so fucking good.
I think he like exhaustingly went into the process because he was in the writing session with us, and he like helped a little, and like he helped a lot. He didn't help a little, but like I think he was kind of like thinking it would be like, let her do her little
song,
her
ditty
song thing. She'll have fun. It's pandemic. We won't think about it, and we'll forget about it after the world opens up. And then it turned out really well, and I think he was proud of me, proud of it. I do sometimes think about, because I've mostly seen it from male comics who all of a sudden their girlfriend who wasn't a comedian gets into comedy. And that's probably fine. Now that I've done this, I'm like, oh, because I think about that from me. If I had a boyfriend who wanted to.
That's a nightmare.
I'll do comedy too. No,
but also comedy's so specific.
Right? And then I'm like, did I just do that to my boyfriend?
You're like,
I can do it too.
No, because you're super talented. Like the song came out great. I think it would be one thing if the song came out shitty and then you're like, let's record an EP, honey.
I know.
He's like,
let's not.
Yeah.
Maybe focus on comedy. But he was like, yeah, let's like set it up with Alex. And so I'm meeting with him, and like we all wrote it together, but I came in with the idea, like a nugget of an idea. And then we expanded it, and I added I did like a heavy lifting. It wasn't like a passive sitting there. And even some of the stuff, there was some validation in. My boyfriend would try to like add some things, and I was like, actually it should sound more like this. And
Yeah.
I think at first he's like, who are you? But then Alex, who's worked with country artists, was like, no, I know country music.
Well,
I know garbage country music and good old school country music. So.
And also, like, you know, a lot of times like jokes have certain cadences and things that work, and
that translates, I think.
It translates. The timing of everything is so important. And I feel like that using that skill in a country song, it's the same skill, it's just a little bit like different.
Tweaked, yeah. And it's like a muscle you don't even realize I mean, if you think about it, we know we've been like developing that muscle. So you don't realize it's going to translate, or like think about how much sharper you've gotten from when you started to knowing like how to like concisely make a joke, or like how a line should flow. So
right.
And I was like, really happy with it.
Like taking out one word of a joke can make it funnier. Yes. Same with probably writing a song. Like,
yeah, or just like flipping the way you say it, or changing the word to something else that's got like just stronger consonants or something. I mean, it's so silly, but it makes a difference.
And I feel like having something that is just fun, and like, because I put so much pressure on stand-up for so long. I was like, it has to be exactly perfect every time, and like, and then when I got the keyboard, I was like, I just want something that I can like play with, where it's like, it doesn't matter, it's like a fun hobby.
Yes, where you're like, my life doesn't depend on it,
stakes aren't high.
Yes. And I think being in entertainment, sometimes, even though we know like stand-up is our lane, there sometimes is that like, does everything need to be content? Or, you know, that we're all inundated because of social media of people who are great at a variety of things. So it's like, why am I going to try painting?
Right.
I know it's not going to be good, but it's like, okay, that's not what it's for. It's an outlet.
But then also like, okay, speaking of painting's one of the things that gets me, because I'm like, I think I could be an abstract artist.
Do it.
But then I like the balls that it takes to sell an abstract painting. It's just like scribbles. Should I start doing that?
Balls, to me, it's like the gall of you to put that
Yeah.
on a wall and say for $40,000. I think anyone could be an abstract artist. It's more like I personally think, and this is not to take away from. I'm sure there's some art person who'll be like, no, you don't understand the meaning. Whatever, fine, you're probably right, but like, I think that's more about sales than it is about art.
Yeah.
It's like becoming a caricature.
Yeah. It's like a pretentious. There's something pretentious about
We should
art.
make like a fake art collective where we just start all painting like trash
and selling it.
but like only wear black when we post photos with it and like have berets.
I really like that.
Because it is like, but I have found, because I really manically go to like buying paints and stuff when I'm like trying, what's an outlet I can do that's just for me?
Okay.
And my art's garbage, but it feels really good to put color on a like canvas, like to just flop around.
I like that. I haven't done that enough.
I mean, I was painting something for a friend, and it wasn't even like, it was like I'm gluing I was gluing letters onto a canvas, but I was painting the canvas. It was not art. It was a sign that's very like,
But
childish.
what is art? you know,
everything's art really when you think about it.
Yeah.
And all I was doing was painting the canvas black. And granted, I was like a full like tall boy of yerba mate deep in the middle of the night painting this. But I was like, it's concerning now that I was like, it feels so good to paint this canvas black. Like I was like, I felt something, and I was like, this is why people paint, and why does it feel so good for me to paint things black? That's so dark. But I'm like, oh, there was just a moment of that glimmer of, oh, is this what people are getting out of this? Because
it's like being fully present in something.
yeah,
That's not connected to the internet.
I know. Well, even like do you feel like with stand up, my favorite sets, I think my best sets, but the ones that I enjoy the most, I really am like that present on stage.
Yeah, 100%.
You're like fully connected to the audience instead of in your head autopilot.
Right. And that's why I think creativity is important, because it's like for me, it's the only time that I'm fully present.
Yeah, that's the way you meditate, is like getting deeply into some type of creative activity.
Totally.
Yeah.
Agreed. How is Fringe Fest?
So
How do you explain Fringe Fest for people who don't know what it is?
okay, so Edinburgh Fringe is one of the biggest fringe festivals in the world. They do fringe festivals all over. I was supposed to be at one this weekend doing my musical, but we canceled because they were like,
you have a
COVID.
musical? Wait,
no.
I love how you just casually shoehorned in the musical. What do you mean a musical?
Do you know Jeffrey Baldinger? He plays piano at the Comedy Store.
Yes.
Comedian. He and I wrote a Christmas musical. We started it in 2019, but then paused it.
Okay.
And then we just started working on it again the second half of this year, and we submitted it to this Fringe Festival, which is in Tucson. They just draw it of a hat. Like, it doesn't mean, and that's not to downplay my musical, but I'm not like, we got accepted. I mean, we just canceled because they sent an email like, we don't know how shows are going to be. And it's like, okay, then we're not coming because we have COVID. I don't have COVID. I just sent them an email. Sorry. There's a lot of scared. Whatever.
Like, I don't feel like going to Tucson.
I don't want to drive to Tucson for 2 days when I could be. I was like, let's meet up those days and actually, because we need to tweak it now and revamp it. But we've been doing it as a 2-person show a couple times just in the holiday season.
Okay.
But we want to take it to full stage. So we have like a plan written out for like this year. We want to do like a run of live reads with cast members.
Okay.
Just like different casts, like once a month, get different people in there and build up to doing a big live reading by 2023 with like, we've never made a musical, so we're like flying by the seat of our pants. but like invite out investors and people who could pay to like get it to stage.
So do you have to go to New York?
Maybe. We're figuring that out. And we both have a couple friends who are in the theater world, just coincidentally, like Broadway and Broadway adjacent. So we at least have people whose brains we can kind of pick.
Like, that's wild.
Yeah. It's
a
insane.
Musical?
I know.
I love it.
Well, I'm trying to like
use your skills in different ways.
Well, yeah, but also I feel like get out of my own way of worrying about. I do worry about, like, I think about all those like Skankfest guys, and like those are a lot of those are like comedians I looked up to when I started, or like love, or like, and I want to like, and I am friends with them, but I do get like, are they gonna think I'm a dork? And I'm trying to like, who cares?
Oh yeah.
Like, and also be okay with like trying something that flops. Like, I'm gonna maybe I'll write a one-woman show and it'll be terrible, but like, let me just see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's something to that. I think that, well, especially for me, like at the store and stuff, because everyone has an idea of like what stand-up's supposed to be. So like
Which is
taking
so
risks.
silly.
So taking risks, sometimes I get in my own way for sure.
Yes.
And so I think that that's important. It's important to just like try different things, and sometimes they stick and sometimes they don't.
Yeah,
You know?
but like being okay with like, because for me, there have been moments where I get in my head about like, I think it's like wanting to be cool, honestly.
Yeah,
Where it's like,
which is why you end up becoming a stand-up, because you want approval anyway.
yeah, but
You're
then
like,
it's like,
please love me.
it's like what makes me funny, like what makes me the most funny is how not cool I am. Is that like I'm a
Being
fucking
your authentic
weirdo lunatic, and like, so getting out of like I don't have to just stand behind the mic. Like if I feel like getting silly and bouncing around, play with that. And that's like a big thing for me this year is like take the risk.
I love that.
And cut to maybe 6 months from now, I'll be like, I took the risk and it was pretty bad. Overwhelming failure.
But at least you have this story. Like I tried to have a clothing line in my early 20s. It didn't
What?
work. Yeah.
You should have a clothing line.
I tried. It was so much fucking, it was
Well,
so
that's so
much work,
hard,
and
yeah.
it was so expensive, and it was not like, I was like, I could have a clothing line as like a side project. And then I was like, oh, turns out having
That's
a
a
clothing line,
full-
it's like a full fucking job. Yeah.
I bet.
It's
I
like,
bet you could do it at some point.
at some
But you'd have to
point-
be like a boss at like you would have to be willing to hire people that you could trust to do a lot of the stuff.
I know, which is something I'm trying to allow to happen, because I'm kind of a control freak.
Same. And it's like, you know what I could really benefit from? A fucking podcast producer.
Somebody.
And I just
Yeah.
haven't let go of the reins.
Yeah.
Or like last year was about to hire a booking assistant to just let me train you on how I do my own booking and you handle it. And then I haven't yet because it was like a little bit not giving up. And now I have we'll see, some like agents who are like, let me help you. But who knows how that's going to go. But like, yeah, there's so much that if I can just, because it also is that like financial insecurity of, can I keep paying you? But also if you get someone who's good at doing the job, your shit's going to be more
make
consistent.
money.
You're going to make more money.
I know. Yeah. 100%. It's like, I know. And then it's like you're investing in yourself.
Yeah.
So that kind of feels good, because you're like investing in your own
You're like
future.
believing in your own project enough to be like, actually, I can spend a little bit of money on this.
Right.
I believe that it's good enough.
Right.
But then that's also scary.
But then sometimes I'm like, even like my podcast editors, I'm like, all right, okay, I'm gonna pay you, but I don't know when I'm gonna be able to pay you next.
I know.
Like,
and that's my fear, is that like,
I know.
what if it like completely runs out and then I just am like, sorry, I can't pay you anymore.
But I also feel like if you're building something with someone who actually believes in you, and you're being fair with what you are paying them, and you're honest and upfront from the beginning of like, I'm gonna pay you this for as long as I can pay you this. Hopefully, I'll be able to pay you more sooner.
Then like you can make something work. And mine is just needing to like do the work to find that person.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people like podcast producers who are like younger and they know all this shit, like technology stuff, and they just like want to work, and they want to like be in with a comic who's been doing it longer, you know?
Absolutely. Fuck. Where are you? Hit me up.
Hit her up. I'm sure there's guys listening. I hope that they're not creepy.
I don't know if
Send
you're
your
creepy
resume.
as long as you actually know what you're doing. That's been my thing, is like, I've had people offer to help me, and then like they also don't really know what they're doing, and I'm like,
The blind leading the blind.
yeah, and then I'm like, we're just fucking killing ourselves here. What are we doing?
Yeah.
We're both piles of trash trying to like make something.
Well, so wait, can we just talk real fast about Fringe?
Yes. Oh, Fringe. Okay, so
So how does it work? You're doing shows every night.
every night you can, ahead of time, like at the beginning, you can submit, these are the days I'm gonna like do, and I won't be doing. You could choose to go like, no Monday shows ahead of time.
Okay. So it's for any type of performer, specifically stand up.
No, it's any type of performer. So like a lot of the shows at Edinburgh Fringe aren't stand-up. Stand-ups do it though, and it's a great way to either if you can get in on a work in progress hour, and usually it's like you have to be a little bit more like you've been to the Fringe before, or like you're a little bit of a name, so they're like, okay, or you're bringing your hour that like you could still be working on, but you're tweaking it, but like you're presenting like a full hour. And but there's like weird theater shows, there's like circusy stuff, there's music, and that's why I did, because my show wasn't stand up.
Okay.
I did a one woman show called Codependent Arising.
Okay.
And it was about my 10-day silent meditation, and it was like immersive. Everyone's supposed to be on this meditation. I was doing like silent physical comedy while there's like a screen with video of me playing what's going on in my brain.
Okay.
And like weird shit. And I was like, this is a space where it's like I wanted to do it, but where do you do that in comedy where people don't go like, what the fuck are you doing in the belly room, like flopping on the stage and crying?
But you did it in the belly room,
I did.
right?
I did, but like I was very much, it was so funny how I overemphasized, this is not stand up. Like I was like letting people know, like hardcore, like I don't want, and that was more for me, that I don't want someone to come and go like, well, it wasn't like all funny. And it's like, yeah, it wasn't supposed to be. It was theater.
It's a one woman show.
Yeah, and there were funny moments for sure, but like it had an arc and it had like sad moments, and I didn't want to feel insecure about that. So I was very much like, it's not a stand-up hour.
Right.
It's like a theater piece. It's immersive theater.
Right.
But I love doing it. And it was fun. And the feedback I got was really positive. And I've actually had people reach out to me recently like, I loved your show. Are you bringing it back? It's very like heavily emotional and kind of a pain in the ass to do with it. It's not even that big of a deal. It's that I'm so technologically stupid that like setting up a projector is stressful to me.
I know that's one of the most annoying parts of being a performer, and like when you're in between like being able to afford everything.
Yeah, where you could just pay everyone to do it.
Yeah, and you're
but
like,
you have these ideas that like need just a little bit more than you standing there.
Right. And you're like, okay, so yeah, I guess I would need a camera. I guess I would need all these things, and you're like, I'm limited, but I can do the performance part.
But I have the vision. And it's like,
yeah.
Even the thing is like looking at the show I did, really, if I were to try to like scale it up and make it bigger, the show I did feels, because of the quality, is more like a prototype of the show. You know, like someone else could see it and go, I could see how we could actually make this
bigger.
Because
right.
it very much was low. It was just low budget, no frills, but I had fun with it.
Yeah, but sometimes you just need to take that risk.
Yeah, they're just like, let me just jump in and run with this idea.
So
why not?
While you were doing the one woman show, were you also doing stand up?
Yes. So I didn't have a stand up show there, but there's tons of like showcase style stand up shows.
Okay.
So you go and you just immediately start meeting people everywhere you go. Oh, you're a stand up, come to my show. And then once like they hear that you're doing shows, or like, because each of those shows is every day. So when you get a spot on a show, show up and do a good job, you're now probably going to be in their regular rotation of like, come back tomorrow, come back in 2 days. Like, so it's just like everywhere you go. I was running from my show to stand-up spots, and
you're meeting like international comics from everywhere.
Yeah. And it's just such a cool, it's like the best hang. Edinburgh's beautiful.
That's what I've heard. I heard it's like amazing, like Harry Potter land.
I was just gonna ask, like, I don't know how you feel, like how everyone feels about Harry Potter. I'm a fucking dork for it. She's from there. She literally wrote the books in like cafes there, which a lot of people have different feelings about J.K. Rowling. But if you read the books, you like walk through the streets and you're like, this is like, yeah, Harry Potter magic.
That's so cool. Yeah.
And it's like you become best friends with people that you don't like. It's just the same. It's the same thing as, definitely not the same thing as Gangfest, but like,
but yeah, where you connect with like, people.
These people who you don't get to spend much time with, that you don't not like, you like them, but we're all like worker bees and going and doing our things. And like, oh, God forbid we hang out and it's not to record a podcast. No one ever does. You know?
Yeah.
So you just get this like extra quality time where all of a sudden you have these like really close friends. And
I love that they're just from everywhere. And I love the idea of being able to work out material in another country.
Yes, because you see, like, you learn, and that's what I've learned there, and then also doing a couple tours in Europe.
Yeah,
like,
where have you gone?
I've gone to Switzerland. I've performed in a bunch of cities in Switzerland, in Germany, like a few cities, France, Paris in France, but also a couple smaller. I did a show in Sweden, Prague.
Okay, so what was it like? How did it translate? Were
you
certain
learn.
areas harder than others?
I will say this about the first show I ever did in Switzerland. A very reserved people who I think I scared.
I'm coming in with strong
strong,
Alaskan wild
dirty,
lady energy.
Weird. But also, it's like literally the reason I have slow down tattooed on my hand, and I started writing it there every night after I bombed at a show in Switzerland where other people went up. It was all English speaking. And other people did well, and I just ate shit. And I was like, all right, well, that's fine. But someone came up afterwards, complimented another comedian. I don't know if you know that feeling of you bombed, and you're like, uh-oh, let me just look at the ground and go away.
Yeah.
Oh, I shouldn't have come out here.
Right.
And then
that's the
you
worst.
just like walk into a trash can and
You're
put
like,
the lid on.
why am I still physically standing here? I wish I could dissolve into goo.
Because you're like, this is going to be, don't look at me because I know that you didn't like me. But the person turned to me and it was like the nicest piece of shitty feedback I've ever gotten. They were like, I'm sure you're very funny. And I'm like, off to a great start. And they're like, your accent is so thick, which I didn't know I had an accent.
Right.
And you talk so fast. I don't think the crowd understood you. And in the past, people since I started have said that I know I'm a fast talker.
Yeah.
But that was a big lesson for me in like slowing down. And that changed how I do shows there. And I found since then, as you go, you learn like some material just won't translate. Sometimes you have a very specific reference where you're like, oh, you guys don't have this product. And either you can't make it work or you find out what's the equivalent of a Capri Sun in Italy or whatever. Like juice box. But it's interesting because you learn, you just, as you go, or at least for me, as I went, I learned what jokes I had were really universal. And it's interesting also learning how many concepts really are, like how much we are alike, that you just go like,
yeah.
And what's really cool, this was really cool, and I didn't even think of it as a thing, because like obviously people have a lot of opinions of comedians, and they like, you know, if you're a fan of comedy, you think highly of comedians, or you like, you know, appreciate what they do. I did a period joke in South Africa. And
what happened?
well, it's like, because I don't think of anything as like, I think of myself as like a clown, essentially, that like I'm silly, I'm goofy, I talk about things, I get dirty, but like,
right,
I'm not a revolutionary,
right?
You know, it's like I'm talking about my pussy up here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this woman came up to me who happened to be Muslim, but like, so I don't know if that played into it or if it's just like her household or like the community in South Africa she grew up around. But she was like, your joke was so funny about your period. Thanks for saying that. I didn't, she was an adult woman, and she was like, I didn't even know that like women talked about that stuff. I've never talked about any of that. I've never heard anyone. And so she was like, it's one of those things where like, and what, to me, the material when I watch comedy that makes me laugh the hardest sometimes is that shit that you're like, oh, other people do that?
Yeah.
So realizing that like, oh, I was like giving that to someone who really was like, oh, we all are fucking losing our minds during our period. Oh, we all want to kill ourselves. I'm not a crazy person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was like, whoa.
Totally.
But
that's cool. I mean, just the thought of doing stand-up in other countries is amazing. I remember there was the Hostel show in Santa Monica. Have you ever done that?
Yeah, the Hostel show.
Yeah, it was like a bunch of people from different places.
I loved it though.
I liked it because I could see what worked other places and what wouldn't. And then like you were saying, like I said like starbursts. It was like a joke about starbursts. And they were like, what? And I was like, you don't have starbursts in wherever? And they're like, no, they're called blah, blah, blah. Same type of thing.
Yeah,
so
you get to learn so much, and then it's just cool to get to connect.
Totally.
Because we all think, like, I mean, maybe we don't all think, everyone's so different, they're not going to get it. And, like, sometimes no. Like, if you did really local, like, LA political humor, literally anywhere but LA, you're going to bomb and fucking stop doing it.
Show up with Newsom bits.
Yeah.
What's the deal with Newsom's hair?
And they're like, what is wrong with you? Yeah, no, just like life things, or like anytime you're doing like silly stories, like just fucking embarrassing shit that happens to you, that's gonna resonate anywhere, because we've all been embarrassed and we've all done dumb shit.
Right. It's cool when comedy can transcend, you know, cultures.
Yeah. And it's like just cool to get to do that and go like, oh. And also seeing like who the big people from other countries, like in Edinburgh, going like, what do they do that, like, what do they think's funny? Or going to some of the shows that everyone was talking about, and they weren't just stand-up shows. Like some of them were like really wacky and goofy, and
yeah,
like
that sounds so fun.
Yeah, like in Fringe Culture. So I did a festival. The first time I went to Europe is because I got to do this festival in Montreux, Switzerland, that had just opened up. They were doing one English speaking show, but they've been doing it for years, French speaking. And a lot of the French comedians it's like very expressive, like physical.
Okay.
It's just cool to see kind of some of the differences.
I love that. I love the idea of getting to do that. I mean, was there a Fringe festival this year or no, because of COVID?
I think they were doing like, there was, but it was like half
Scaled back.
capacity. Some people were doing like, they tried to do a Zoom Fringe, I think, in 2020, which just feels dark to me. And I think there's going to be one this year. I think they're starting to take submissions in early February.
I mean, the thought of doing digital festivals dark.
Yeah, because you're not getting anything out. It's like what you get out of a festival isn't just the shows. It's the like hang. It's the meeting people. It's the experience. So then it just becomes you like checking in for a show.
My friend just tried to hire a doula. And she said she
have a lot
she
of
was
friends
not.
hiring doulas.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends having babies. She said she was not available for in-person dueling, but she would be happy to do it on Zoom.
Get fucked.
Like, can
Literally,
you
you're a
imagine?
spam artist. Or get the fuck out of here. I can just listen to Lamaze tapes and I'm just like, what are you gonna do? Okay, now push. Can you imagine
No.
giving birth and there's a woman on Zoom eating a bologna sandwich? All right, now deep breaths. She's just drinking. That's great. It's good. You're doing great. Hang on. I'm getting a phone call.
Yeah, like just the visual of a digital doula is repulsive.
Yeah, just a Zoom screen between your legs.
You're
You're
like-
doing great, honey.
Like, can you put the monitor up? I didn't hear what she said. Like,
And then
what?
you, like, imagine if your roommate was a digital doula and you walk in, there's just a big pussy on your computer screen. Just fucking. I mean, I get
It's
that we all had
amazing.
to make
Money
shifts,
somehow.
but like, get a mask, bitch.
Yeah, double up. Get an N95.
You better be holding my fucking hand,
If I'm
my
paying you.
catching my turds as they fly out of my asshole. As I'm paying extra for that. I want to be clear. I'm not trying to take advantage of anyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Same page on that.
Fuck.
That's our episode.
All
It was so
right.
much fun. Where can people find you, and do you have anything coming up you want to promote?
Yay. You can find me all over the internet at JMS Comedy on all the social media or jmscomedy.com. If you want to find my tour schedule, I'm going to be in... Oh my God, where am I going to be? I don't know when this is coming out. The February 10th through 14th, I'll be in Tampa, Florida. Come on, Tampa. And Nicole Amy Shriver is going to be on those shows as well. So that'll be fun. She's
So
going to
fun.
feature. Those will be a hoot. And then the weekend after that, I'm in Des Moines, Iowa for the first time.
Wow.
Since I did like a bar show there, like on a road trip once.
Okay, cool.
But I'll be at the Funny Bone,
The Funny Bone?
the 18th
I have some
and
friends in
19th.
Iowa. I should tell them.
Tell them if you're in Iowa, come to this fucking show. It's gonna be dope. And then I'm in Seattle March 10th, and I think that's all I have locked in right now. But
Seattle will be fun.
Seattle will be so fun. It's a Thursday night. It's at this place called Hereafter, which is part of, it's like the Crocodiles, like this complex that's doing a bunch of events. And they just redecorated. I heard it's like, they like revamped everything. So
Seattle's one of my favorite cities
Seattle's
to
the
visit.
fucking best. And then, look out for, maybe I'll release some more country music soon.
Please release more country music and remind people the name of your podcast and your country song.
Yes, my podcast is Ignorance is #blessed. I know that's wrong. I do it on purpose. Don't fucking correct me. And then the name of the country song is Now I Need Whiskey. You can get that wherever you listen to music. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, you'll find my podcast. And I'm really leaning in, trying to get out a bunch of episodes this year. I got to get you on.
Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah,
And I'll
okay,
link
on.
to all of that in the description of this episode, and then your Instagram and Twitter.
At JMS Comedy.
Okay, perfect. Thank you guys so much for listening to another episode of Shank. New episodes out every Wednesday. Subscribe, tell your friends about it. Thank
Yes.
you. Bye.